Alright, hopefully you finished that quiz already. So we are moving on to the second bit. And the second bit is the product of powers. As the name implies, product basically means multiplying. So we are multiplying exponents. So if we want to type it out, basically is multiplying exponents. Okay, so whichever way you look at it, we are going to multiply things together. So the first thing we want to cover is, I'll give you a very simple example. So for example, I have like 4 to the power of 2. And I want to multiply 4 to the power of 6 as an example. Okay, maybe 6 is a little bit too big. I don't want to do 4 to the power of 2 times 4 to the power of 3. So we are trying to find the product of the powers. So from the very first video, we know that 4 squared basically means 4 times 4. Well, that is basically meaning 4 times 4 times 4. So in this scenario, we can actually write off this out. So the very first bit is going to be your 4 times 4. Second bit is you're multiplying yourself like 3 more times. So let's count how many times we have those 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's equivalent to 4 to the power of 5. Right? That's basically the same thing. Let's do another one. And I just really want you guys to see the pattern of this. This time I'm going to do maybe 3 to the power of 3 times just 3 itself. Alright, so the first bit, 3 times 3 times 3. Second bit, I still have a 3 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 to the power of 4. Now, at the end of the last video, I basically said, when 3 is sitting there on its own, you actually have a 1 way over there. Okay, so hopefully you can see what's going on. If we are actually multiplying the exponents, so long as the base are the same, so you have to check a couple things. The base, they have to be the same. If they're both having the same base, then I can actually add the exponents together. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. The base are the same. So I can add this 3 and 1, I'll get a 4 way over there. So the product of power property is basically saying that if I have the same base, so let's have a new page. The criteria is you gotta have the same base though. So you have to always check, do I have the same base? If I do, then I can add the exponents together. So it is all about this. If I have the same base, let's just make this sentence a little bit better. Then I can add the exponents together. And of course, we're in algebra, most of this will be in variable forms. So let's say if I have x to the power of something, another variable, I'm going to multiply that x to the power of n, then my result is going to be m plus n. So that's actually the definition of this. If you have the same base, then you can multiply them together, you're going to get a result. Okay? So let's try some examples, because why not? So let's say if we have like 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4, I would write this down, 2 to the power of 3 plus 4. So I have 2 to the power of 7. That's really not too bad, right? It's really quite simple. So that's example 1. Example 2. If I have 8 times 8 to the power of, let's say 2, is going to be 8, 1 plus 2, you get to x to the power of 3. Okay, let's try one a little bit more difficult. Let's put some variable over here, 5 to the power of p times 5 to the power of q. That's going to be 5 to the power of p plus q. So some of these, I can't really do too much about it. You know, p and q, I cannot add them together. It just has to stay that way. Alright? Alright, so some of the question may be a little bit more difficult. You may run into something like, they will give you an expression like this and say, oh, okay, 2x times 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 2 to the power of 7. Just an example. Then they will say find x. So in this scenario, we have to think about, oh, okay, well, we have to find x. So this x plus 3 has to be equal to 7, right? And so, because I'm doing the exponent multiply, so they have to add up to 7. That basically forces that to happen as subtract 3, so x is going to be equal to 4. Okay, some of these may be a little bit difficult in the beginning, but once you get used to the idea, it's just like, can you solve x plus 3? And I would assume all of us can do it. All of us can do it. I've been skipping this, but maybe it's a good time to introduce this. We haven't get to it just yet. So for example, I actually have something like this. Let's just pick a number for the base. 6 to the power of 3 times 6 to the power of negative 1. In this scenario, I actually have a negative. We are going to do the same thing. So it's 6 to the power of 3 plus a negative 1. So long as they multiply, it's just adding. So it's 6 and 3 plus or minus turn to minus 6 to the power of 2. Alright. Now, some of this number will be quite easy to do, like 6 squared. You should be able to get to 36. Some of the bigger numbers, you may not be able to do it. I'm not sure if I have like 8 to the power of 3. It's not as easy as like 6 squared. 2 to the power of 7 is not exactly as easy as 2 squared. So in that scenario, if you do have the power like this, I would recommend you to use a calculator for it instead of, you know, guessing it. Okay, let's dive in a little bit more. So for example, if I give you an expression like this, for 5t, and then the other one is, just make it simple, 2 to the power of 4. Now, if you have a scenario like this, your multiplication is going to be the number in front of it, in front of your variables. They will go together. In fact, that two numbers, we actually have a name for them. Let me do this. So, oh, I can't spell. Can't spell. E-F-F-I-C-I-E-N-T, sorry. So, we actually have a name for these two numbers. Anything in front of your variable, we just call them coefficients. Okay, so if we want to refer that, we are just multiplying the coefficients together. So 5 times 2, we can do that. 5 times 2 is just going to be your 10. Then you have to deal with this t times t to the power 4. T is just 1. 4 is just 4, so you ended up with t to the power 5. Alright, so some of the expression may be a little bit more difficult. It's not always just having the base, okay? Or it could be complicated as in, let's just make something up. Negative 2, x to the power of 2, y, that would be like the first bit. And then I want to multiply another thing. It's like 4, x to the power of 3, y to the power of 7. So in this scenario, the coefficients are going to multiply together as like the negative 2 and 4. they will go together, and we'll get a negative x first. I'll do one thing at one time, and then after that, I'll pair the x, the base, that x, they're the same, so it's going to be x to the power of 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. Finally, we'll get to the y. Just really be careful about the y itself. A lot of people will make that mistake. Y is going to be 1 plus 7, which is 8. There's nothing really much I can do about this unless I know what's the number of x and y. I cannot find the answer. So we can just basically stop over there. And we cannot do this. We are not going to add the 5 and 8 because they do not have the same base. Alright, so this is the second part of this lesson. And when you're done, wait for my instruction. I'm not sure if I want to set up a Schoology for this or not. So by tomorrow, you will know. Bye for now.